Hello and welcome to the Connected Community Podcast. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Kate Evans, who is a psychologist and a life and home decluttering coach. Today, we talk about the emotional barriers of why it is so hard to release things when we have a sentimental attachment or when we just have spent a lot of money on things. Why is it that when we clean out our homes and we declutter that things start creeping back in? This is something that happens to me often. We talk about the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the mindset that go behind all this so that hopefully when you're ready to declutter, you can declutter for good. I really hope that you'll enjoy this podcast. Please, if you do, take a moment to give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. And I want to thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to the Connected Community Podcast, a place to explore possibility through mindfulness, movement, and self-discovery. Our intention is to deliver insight and inspiration while fostering conversations that are genuine, unfiltered, and deeply human. We hope you will enjoy today's episode. Hi, Kate. Good morning, and welcome to the Connected Community Podcast.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yes, I'm excited about our topic. Today, we're going to just dive into decluttering. And you're a psychologist and a life and home decluttering coach. And I've had somebody on the podcast before talk about decluttering, but I think today we're going to dive 10 layers deeper and talk about not just how to declutter and why it's good, but what is the psychology behind it and why we get ourselves in this situation. And a lot of people, including myself, will go and do like a massive decluttering and it feels so good. And then slowly over time, the things build back up. And this is what you are going to talk to us about, is like how to prevent this from happening. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about why is decluttering so hard for so many people?
It's not just the little things. It's not just pieces of random paper. It's the things that you've been holding on to for years, and these things mean stuff to us. I had this conversation with my cousin just this weekend that I think speaks to this really well. She and her husband recently downsized. They moved from Chicago back to Michigan, where our family is from, and because their daughter's just gone off to college. And she was very surprised by how emotional it was to get rid of a lot of her stuff. She was not expecting it. She thought, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to be able to get rid of things. And what she found was that to let go of things was so much more emotional. They had been living in this house for, I think it was somewhere around 8 years. Well, this was 8 years of her daughter growing up, of collecting things in this house. And items come to symbolize things for us. And human beings are deep into symbolism. Things come to symbolize things that we believe about ourselves, things about our lives, memories, moments in time. And so when we attach symbolism to these items, then we get this idea that to get rid of the item is to lose that memory, to lose that moment in time, to lose that experience. And we forget that we have that living inside of us, and that experience lives with us forever. We don't have to have that shot glass that you got when you went on vacation to Jamaica to remember that vacation forever. Or you don't have to have the 20 finger paintings that your child did in kindergarten to remember that year of your child's life.
Yeah. There is this thing that happens though when you look through some papers and you find an old card, or you do find that shot glass in the back of the closet, and it kind of gives you this quick memory and download that maybe wasn't in the foreground of your mind. And so I'm wondering if people keep it because they're like, oh, that makes them feel good when they see that shot glass, and then they forget about it, and then it brings back that like positive memory again for them.
So, what's interesting about what you're describing is this jolt of a memory. It's this little endorphin rush, right? That's not an extended release,
Right.
that's a brief moment. So, you have to make a decision when you're going through decluttering. Do I want to hold on to this item for this one blip every 10 years
Yeah.
when I open this box? Or am I willing to let go of this to make room for other things, maybe even just energetic space?
Yeah.
Um, or is this thing something that I actually want to honor by putting on a shelf so that I can see it every day and I can have that little jolt on an everyday experience?
Yeah. Yeah. The sentimental things are really difficult, and that's why it's so much easier if somebody's moving and they ask us to help them. It's like we have no problem throwing out other people's stuff. It's so easy. Or like my kids' stuff, I'm like, let's get rid of this, or my husband's stuff, right? That it's my stuff. It's like, oh my God, no.
And that's why I always tell people, like, if somebody comes in to help you with your decluttering, they're there only to hand you things for you to make decisions about. They're not there to make decisions for you. They're there to remove the bags that are to go to donation, or the bags that are to go out to the trash bins, or to move the boxes into the basement or the attic or whatever. They are not there to make any decisions for you. You mentioned, like, your husband. When I did the decluttering in my own house, I did not touch any of my husband's stuff because I wasn't going there. I never have. There have been times when I have held his things up in front of him and said, "What about this?" And let
Yeah.
him make a decision. And if he says he's keeping it, I'm not arguing with him
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
not getting in trouble.
Yeah. I've had that scenario where I've gone through my husband's closet too, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get rid of stuff, and then he'll say, okay, let's get rid of this shirt, and I'm like, really, you want to get rid of that one?
The
That
opposite.
was so nice on you.
We went through my husband's t-shirts. So I have all of my husband's t-shirts file folded, like the Marie Kondo file folding. Because
Hmm.
after I did my drawers, he thought they looked so good. He's like, "Well, could you do mine now?" Which I thought was incredibly cute. And then he goes in and he pulls a t-shirt out, and then he like squishes it and puts it back in. And then I'll go in his drawers and I see this squished t-shirt and I have to pull it out and properly fold it. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so I thought, okay, there's no way this man could actually need to keep all, I don't know, 50, 100 t-shirts that he has. I
Yeah.
haven't actually counted them. And so we went through all of his drawers of t-shirts, and I actually had to acknowledge and admit that, yes, I know that he likes all of these t-shirts. I think we got rid of two. And it's like four drawers of t-shirts. And
Yeah.
I I was so sure that we were going to come away with like 20, at least 20 t-shirts. And no, I had to agree with him. So, all right. Yes. I
Yeah.
like his t-shirts too.
So people understand the concept of how it is difficult to get rid of sentimental value items. But what about, and I know we can all relate to this, the thing that you absolutely had to buy, you spent way too much money, and then it ends up it's sitting in the back of the closet, and you pull it out. And every time you pull it out, you like it, you think you're going to wear it, it keeps going back in the closet, and it never gets worn. And that could be clothing, it could be anything, but we all have those things that we dropped a load of money on that we don't actually use. And those are ones I struggle with. And I know about the, what is it, lost, what is it?
Sunk
The,
cost fallacy.
yes, sunk cost fallacy. But I would love for you to talk about those items.
The first thing I'm going to say about this is the money's gone. It's not coming back. By keeping the item, the money is not magically coming back. So everybody listen to those words. The keeping of the sweater, the keeping of the vase, the keeping of the blanket, the keeping of the couch, I don't know, whatever it might be, is not making the money come back. But the keeping of the thing is making energy heavy and stagnant in your space. And there's this, like, it's like there's this little gremlin that's sitting on your shoulder because you know that thing is there. and you look at it and you keep trying to use it or you keep trying to wear it and it keeps not working. And I don't know, Nikki, you tell me, like, if they're one of these items, how do you feel about it when you go to use it or you go to wear it and it just doesn't work for you? Can you identify like what
Yes,
the
I
feeling is?
have some items in my home that I
Okay.
have not been able to part with for a ridiculously long time. And they're taking up space. It's driving me and my husband crazy. And it conjures up a feeling of failure, actually. And it's interesting that I'm holding on to them and can't get rid of them.
And that was actually the response I expected, because that is that's the normal, like, response that I get from people
Hmm.
is a sense of failure. And
Hmm.
what a heavy feeling to have.
Hmm.
And imagine, now it might feel difficult in the moment to give yourself permission to release that item, but imagine that that item was no longer in your home and you're no longer looking at it or trying to use it and continuing to not use it, and can no longer having this reminder of the money spent on it. I wonder if you might be released from that sense of failure and if there might be a sense of relief.
Yes, I think part of it is, oh, this is my justification, but that I'm wanting it to not go in the landfill. Like I'm wanting it to be
Uh,
useful to other people because it was a lot of time and effort and energy and money. And so I'm not wanting for it to just get trashed.
so are you kind of waiting for the perfect way to get rid of it?
Yeah, I think so. And I tried, yes, yes. I mean, one of the examples is these bolts of fabric that I went and had custom made in LA, and it was like this huge thing with beautiful
Oh.
fabric. And I have tried to give it away so many times. I tried selling it and I couldn't sell it. I tried giving it away, and it's just these bolts, these massive bolts of fabric are sitting in my basement, and the thought of the amount of resources that are used to actually make fabric at the
Mhm.
taxing of the earth that happens.
Yeah.
um and so I'm wanting it to go to a good home and get good use. I can't even donate it. They won't even take it from a
Oh,
donation. And so I'm this is my struggle. It's like I can't throw these bolts of fabric in the trash.
what about textile recycling?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know in your area if that's something you could research. I know here in the Chicagoland area we have textile recycling. It's hit or miss throughout the United States as to whether you have it anywhere near you, but it is an option in some areas,
Hmm.
to do textile recycling, and it can be a really nice option for textiles that, because we have, especially like during 2020, there was so much clothing that got donated. It actually became like there was too much excess cloth that was getting
Hmm.
donated, and really a lot of it needed to go to textile recycling if possible. And again, here in the Chicagoland area, that was what started
Yeah.
happening, was a lot was getting shunted over that way. And I know that the company ThreadUp, online, that sells used clothing, they went from, instead of having unsold clothing go to donations, they now send a lot of that clothing to textile recycling. So that's an
Yeah. Yeah.
option that you could consider. And I throw that out there to listeners because I don't think a lot of people are aware that that's an option. But
Yeah.
that thing of looking for like the perfect way to let go of things does hold a lot of people back, because there isn't always perfect. There actually maybe
Yeah.
never is perfect, because there is no such thing. I talk to a lot of clients about this because a lot of people really do want to come up with sustainable, ethical ways to let go of their items, and they don't want to just send everything to Goodwill. They want another way. They want to be able to give it to maybe to shelters, to refugees, to
Hmm.
something. Churches a lot of times have the in as to good places to donate things to. Now, bolts of cloth, boy, you just had to come up with a really nice, unique one.
Yeah, yeah. But I imagine like people have, I'm sure this comes up all the time, the china that's been passed down from family member to family member to family member, and it gets to you and you hate the pattern. And
Yeah.
there's guilt and all kinds of feelings. And then when we finally want to release it, then it doesn't feel good to go to Goodwill because it'll get broken and trashed. So yes, there is that wanting to give it to the right person where it'll be loved and treasured. And so I'm
Yeah.
imagining China's an easy one for me, but I'm imagining that's a difficult one for a lot of people. That particular scenario, it could be any kind of family heirloom. And so
Mhm.
how do you guide people through the emotional process of moving through that?
Oof, it can be short, it can be lengthy. The question is, well, but what if you do have the sentimental attachment to that?
Hmm.
And gosh, it's about really asking yourself a lot of questions of how much space is this taking up in your home? Do you want to start using this item? Do you want to honor it by displaying it? If you're not honoring this item in some way by either using it or displaying it, and it's just getting tucked away in a box somewhere and shoved back into an attic, what is the reason that you are holding on to this? Because if we're trying to balance out the emotion of sentimentality, we have to try to use logic. Now, it isn't quite that simple. It's a lot of sitting and thinking about it. It ends up being conversations that they might have to have with their families, and
Hmm.
it's depends on the item, but it's about thinking about what is the reason this is the thing that we're keeping. And then I tell people, if you really want to keep it, keep it. Because you know
Yeah.
what? Sometimes we keep things. We don't have to
Yeah.
get rid of everything. We don't have to be
Hmm.
minimalist. We can have stuff. If you feel that this thing is meant to stay with you, then
Yeah.
let it stay with you.
Hmm.
That's lovely. However, if everything you touch you feel deeply is meant to stay with you, well, we've got a different conversation, because
Yeah.
everything has the same level of importance. That how do you know what is really special?
Hmm. Yeah. What about all those things that we hold on to pass them down to our kids? Because I know from my own experience, all the stuff that my mom held on to me is gone. And my husband, same thing. His mom held on to a lot of stuff for him and it's now gone. And so, what about, because I think that's common, that's a common theme, right? What about those items?
So I do find that I'm going to say a really random number. 95% of the people I talk to, the things that their parents held on for them because they were so sure that their children were going to want this stuff when they were older, their adult children did not want that stuff when they were older.
Hmm.
Um, they just said, I don't know why you held on to this. I didn't want it. And it all ended up getting donated or tossed or whatever. Um, I will say there's this small percentage of people who will comment, I want that stuff. Don't tell people to get rid of it. And those are the people who need to have a deeper conversation with, you know, their therapist, their coach, whomever it is, about, okay, what's going on here? What is the attachment to that, that younger self, maybe?
Mm.
But for those of you who have children and you're holding on to things for when they're older, I can't promise you what they're going to be like when they're older, if they're going to be ticked off at you because you got rid of things, or if they're going to just be annoyed at you because you kept things. I
Yeah.
can't I can't guarantee one outcome or the other. Um, you have to make the best decisions that you can in the moment. And I have some parents who would rather play it safe and keep all the stuff and let their adult children make the decisions later. And then I've got some parents who say, I'm going to keep one thing here, one thing here, one thing here, like one thing from their kindergarten year, one thing from the first grade year. And they try to keep it fairly small, just like maybe one bin of stuff.
Yeah.
I have a lot of moms who say, well, my clothes, my daughter is absolutely going to want to wear my clothes when she gets to be my size.
Oh my gosh.
Well, what tells you that? Well, gosh, bell bottoms were the thing at one time, and wouldn't it have been cool if my grandmother had kept her bell bottoms and I could have worn those now?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe even for a year, but then they're not in style again.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, on the off chance, do you keep things on the off chance? And so that's a question to ask yourself. How much space do you use up in your home on the off chance?
Yeah. I'm wondering about things that we have. I'm sure this is common too, where we have multiples of something. So it's like, oh, well, if this breaks, when we have a backup, or we have, oh my gosh, I think when my dad passed away, I found like 30 pairs of scissors. I don't know, like
Oh,
there's this random things that he collected, or he had
mhm,
30 pocket knives. I think
mhm,
we all have our
mhm,
thing. We all have our things that we
mhm.
collect. But what about those backup items, or even the boxes? There's so many people that do this, where the boxes that electronics come in, or phones come in, or computers come in, and they keep the boxes. I don't think I've ever reused boxes except for when I was in college and I was moving around a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So boxes that your electronics come in, once you have used them or the warranty is passed or whatever, I mean, if that's why you're keeping it, I guess maybe that might be why you're keeping it. Then, like, the box is of no use whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the box. It's just using of space. Please, everybody, get rid of these boxes because yes, every home has them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you're not
Mm-hmm.
taking the box back to the store. You're taking the phone back to the store. Like, if
Yeah.
there's an issue with it. So that, and then as far as like cardboard boxes, unless you know you're moving in the next 6 months, please do not collect boxes like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, those things unto themselves, which are in essence trash, recycling, become overwhelming. Anything that can become overwhelming, we want to try not to let that get ahead of us. And the keeping of like the extras of things. I know that when I did my decluttering, I had like multiple of the same type of spatula, there were a lot of kitchen gadgets that I had multiples of. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of people who have had multiples of the same tools. And oftentimes the reason that will happen is actually because you can't find the
Yeah.
thing that you're looking for, so you buy another one. Then you can't find that one, so you buy another one. Then you can't find that one, and so having multiple, because what if one breaks, which is one of the things that you noted, which is
Mm-hmm.
something people do with plates, bowls, things like that a lot. I find a lot of times people have extra glassware, extra plates and bowls, like as in 24 instead of 12. I always
Mm-hmm.
ask people, okay, so how often do you break plates? Because
Yeah.
I'm not saying people don't break plates. I broke a plate last week. So plates do break. Yes. And do you need to have double the amount? It's this scarcity mindset, this idea that I have to have, because if I don't have, I'm going to be without.
Yeah.
And it's a fear mindset, this fear that what if I don't have this? And generally speaking, in the United States, if you don't have a plate, you can find one.
Yeah. Well, it's the same with, I'm sure, coffee mugs.
I
Like
was
you get
just
a
thinking
gift
about
and you
coffee mugs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You get one for a gift and you get another one, you get another one. All of a sudden you have like 30 coffee mugs.
Hmm. I had one woman, I had one woman actually right out of the gate tell me not to touch her Starbucks coffee mugs because
Yeah.
she had a collection of
Yeah.
Starbucks coffee mugs. They were important to her because they were from all the different places she had been. She collected Starbucks coffee mugs. Okay, that means something to you. I'm not
Hmm.
touching your Starbucks coffee mugs. That's okay. And like, do you need all of the other coffee mugs that you have?
Right.
Perhaps not. It's always just about asking yourself questions. What is the reason I have this? Do I love this? Do I use this? Do I need this? What do I am I afraid is going to happen if I don't have this? A lot of people will kick back at me and say, I'm not afraid of anything. And then we just have to have a little bit maybe of a softer conversation because the word fear or afraid um, feels too sticky to them,
Yeah.
feels too aggressive maybe. It's just, what is it that feels like is going to go wrong in your life or could just feel off if you didn't have this thing?
Yeah. What's the answer usually?
They usually kind of get a deer in the headlights look and they say, I don't know.
Hmm.
And and that's usually the point at which they say, yeah, I guess I could go, I don't need this.
Hmm. Yeah. So for the people that have, I mean, like linens is another thing where they have tons of towels and sheets and pillowcases and old comforters and things like that. I'm sure we could justify a lot of that away. What would advice would you give them?
So towels, the rule of thumb with towels is two per person in the house plus two per expected like average guest that you might have in the house.
Hmm.
And then for each bed that you have in the house, one, maybe two sets per bed that you have. And beyond that, again, what is the reason? What is the linen emergency or towel emergency that we might have?
Yeah.
Beach towels, if you live near water and you're going to the beach or you're going boating a lot, boy, you're going to want to have lots of towels and stuff. I get that. I had one family that used tons of washcloths. So they needed tons of washcloths. Okay, you have special reason to have extra washcloths than I would normally
Hmm.
say. But it's, what is the emergency that is going to happen that you need all of this stuff? Let's talk through it. And then when you've acknowledged that, yes, the ones that have holes in them or the elastic shot on the fitted sheets or the towels have gone kind of bare threaded or whatever it is. When you've got
Yeah.
all those together, animal shelters are great places to donate
Yeah.
that stuff to.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. What do you talk to people about with the difference between clutter and organization? Because myself, I'll be an example of this. Like people come into my house and it looks very minimalistic, but I'm a
Yes.
Tetris master. And so I can go into the basement and I can fit a ton of stuff in the closet and I can like Tetris anything to make things fit. I'm super organized and everything's got its place. But I would say there's a lot of decluttering that needs to happen, but there's a lot of organization behind the mess.
When you start talking about that, the clutter, you get things decluttered and organized, and
Yeah,
then it gets
it comes
cluttered
back.
again.
Yes.
Okay, this is where this comes into play. If everything is truly decluttered, a an organized home doesn't become cluttered again because there isn't excess anywhere. No, if all the Tetrising in the world, which I
Hmm.
love that you called yourself a Tetris master, that was hysterical. And I am going to steal that because I used to play Tetris all the time. But using the ability to kind of shove as much as humanly possible into a closet to hide clutter is not decluttering.
Yes.
Removing the excess that no longer serves you
Hmm.
is decluttering. And you know that you've decluttered when the house doesn't return to a cluttered state at any point, when stuff doesn't sneak out of the closets onto counters and onto tables and into closets and whatnot at any point.
Yeah.
You know that you've gotten there, or you're moving in that direction because the maintenance is happening.
Hmm.
So the difference, so we want to declutter, remove the things that no longer serve you, the stuff that's actually covering all the stuff that you really love, want, use,
Hmm.
need, and then you organize. We do not want to organize clutter.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you have that one in, one out rule where if you buy something, then something has to go. Otherwise, then you keep accumulating.
So there's one in, one out, one in, two out.
Ha.
So, aha, yes. So one in, one out is when you have already decluttered and you're maintaining. One in, two out is a nice way to give yourself a slow roll on decluttering so that you can stay aware of what you have in your house and be removing things
Hmm.
so that as life is going along and you end up in Target in the home goods area and find a really awesome something or other there, and you bring it into your home, you go, oh goodness, okay, two things now have to leave. And you have this increased awareness of your space, and two things now have to leave the home,
Yeah.
and a slow exodus happens from the house. But if you have already done kind of the major decluttering of your home, the one in, one out rule is fantastic. My own closet is, I always call it like kind of like a living thing. It's kind of on a rotation of sorts. And it's all always have to be one in, one out. And
Yeah.
so I buy something, something has to leave the closet.
Yeah.
And keeping myself honest with that is the amount of space I have in my dresser drawers and the number of hangers that I have. And I have
Yeah.
like the wide wooden hangers.
Hmm.
None of those, it's not those skinny flocked hangers, because
Yeah.
that's, in my opinion, cheating.
Yeah.
We want space for your clothes to breathe in your closet if possible. But it's not just in your closet, it's anywhere in the house. You could buy a throw pillow for your couch and get rid of a garlic press. Like, it doesn't have to be a one to one. And it's
Yeah.
such a fantastic rule and really helps so many people.
Yeah. 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 I'm thinking of all the millions of things that I have in my house that I have too many of. Too many blankets, too many things in the basement, too many too many there's too many to list, too many things to list. Yeah. Um it is interesting though, because I did do a massive, massive, massive decluttering. I did a course and I did a massive decluttering a couple of years ago, and it was amazing. And I was telling people, like family members, don't buy us things for the holidays, buy us experiences, or what does your kid want? Well, buy him a membership to the zoo or something like that. Spend time with him, go paint art with him. Um, and yet somehow slowly things have just trickled in without a lot of awareness. And then my excuse is I've been busy. I have been really busy. But I haven't been able to mind and tend to this thing that's happened over the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, and awareness, it's such a good word. And I think in all of our lives, we do get busy and we do take our eyes off the road, so to speak. It's just about noticing that it's happened and getting back on and kind of doing a little walkthrough of the house and checking things out and going, okay, hey, where have things gotten a little full? What is this? Why do I have this? Why did I hold on to this in the first place? And just going through it. It's not about saying that you have to be perfect. It's not about
Yeah.
saying that you never bring excess into the house. I mean, we're all going to do it every once in a while. This is
Yeah.
This is being human, and people are going to give us gifts every once in a while that we maybe aren't our style, and we don't get rid of immediately, or we don't say, oh, thank you, but this isn't really my style right out of the gate. It's just stuff is going to happen.
Yeah.
So we stop, take a breath, notice, and then reset. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's really okay. And decluttering is this ongoing experience. It's not that you just do it one time and bam, it's supposed to be over. The point is not to not be human. The point is to just stop and notice and reset.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love for you to just really talk about what is the motivation for people to declutter. So if they're like, I don't know if I want to go through the effort and the energy, if I want to put that forth, what's the benefit? Like, yeah, it's kind of a little cluttered, but why would I want to do that? And I've experienced the positive side of this. So why would somebody want to take the effort to walk down this path of decluttering in the first place?
You have to be at a place in life where you're looking at your home going, something's not right. So we have the stages of change. We have pre-contemplation, where we just don't see any problem. We've got
Mm-hmm.
contemplation where, yeah, there's a problem, but I'm not really ready to do anything about it. We've got preparation. There's definitely an issue going on here. I'm making a plan, but I'm not doing anything about it just yet. Then we've got action, where we're taking that plan, we're putting it into action. Then we've got maintenance, which pretty self-explanatory. Okay. You yourself have to be at a place where you're looking at your space going, I just, I don't feel comfortable with something here, and I am ready to do something different. I myself got to that place where I had this drawer of tank tops, and I talk about this particular story like in my book. This drawer of tank tops was not organizing itself, and it was making me nuts. And so I ripped it apart one day and I reorganized it with Marie Kondo's file folding system. I decluttered it and it looked fantastic and has stayed organized and folded like that ever since 2018. And then I did more drawers, and this felt so good that I found myself sitting in my kitchen and just looking at all the excess, and I just felt icky,
Yeah.
and it needed to be different. So you can't make another person be ready to change. A person has to be at that place where they're saying, I want something different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to take the risk to do something uncomfortable, to do something consistent, because it's going to take a while.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily going to be fun while I'm doing it. But Kate and Nikki are sitting here saying that this is going to feel good once I'm done. And so I'm willing to go on faith that I'm looking at my space and feeling like it doesn't feel good. So I'm going to go through this process, and I'm supposedly going to feel good at the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But there is a sense of freedom and expansiveness when we clean out our spaces and they're organized and they're clutter free. It creates more expansiveness in our home, and then it kind of creates more room in our brain and in our body. Like it creates, it's not taking up so much mental energy. Or like if we need to go and grab a pot and pan, instead of I have to go and dig out all of them to get to the back, you can just open the drawer and grab them. And so it really simplifies your life and creates more time and more expansion. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, okay, I really need to hop on this, Nikki. So we'll see. Because I have experienced it. So I need to look at what's happening, that this is like crept in again. And yes, I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this podcast. I think a lot of people struggle with clutter and then they just don't even know where to begin. So I would love for you to talk about your book that's covering up Ditch Your Shit, Decluttering Your Mindset to Declutter Your Home. I think you said that's coming out October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love for you to just briefly touch on that, and then how people can connect with you, and anything that we might have missed that you feel is something that's the audience should hear?
Yeah, ditch your shit, decluttering your mindset to declutter your home. Like you said, it's coming out October 7th. And so it is, the first half of it is about your mental shit. And the second half is applying all of that to your physical shit. And it is about those stages of change. It is about addressing perfectionism, shame, fears, limiting beliefs, your values and how they apply to clutter, habits, and how you got where you are and how you can change your habits, how to set realistic goals. And then again, how you apply all of that to the various areas of your home, your kitchen, your bedroom, your closet, your bathrooms, storage areas, living spaces, sentimental clutter, all the stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
is really intended to be a book that is what you read kind of before you read all those other great books on decluttering, because it addresses the mental and emotional stuff. And I really want everybody to fully embrace and understand how emotional decluttering is. And you got to work on yourself so that you can create sustainable change. So go out and you can pre-order Ditch anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bookshop.org, whatever you want. And you can find me on my website at soulfulspacecoaching.com. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram at katesevans.coaching.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you. I hope that this is inspiring people to go out and ditch their shit.
Yes.
And even more than that, to just kind of look into like how did I get here and what's creating and causing this. So thank you so much for this conversation, and congratulations on your upcoming launch of your book. That's a massive ordeal. But it was a pleasure having you on today.
Thank you so much, Nikki. This was lovely.
Thank you for listening to the Connected Community Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe. I can be found at www.nickyyoga.com, NICKYYYOGA.com. Until I see you again next week, I hope you have a beautiful day.